This will be a limited series between Peter and I that we'll be doing with higher administration, and students can submit questions that they have at the link. Well, good afternoon, Chancellor Horrell. Me and Peter are just here to ask you a few questions and see how you're doing during this uncertain time.
Well, it's wonderful to see both of you on the screen. It seems so strange, though, not to just be sitting across the table from you and being able to connect face to face, but this is the next best thing.
This is the next best thing, and it's really good to see you. So Jamie and I, like she just said, we had a couple questions that we just wanted to voice to you and kind of hear your answers and see how it kind of goes from there. So based on your interactions with students and colleagues, what do you feel that the CU Denver community needs to hear right now?
Well, I think reminding all of us that what we are dealing with is something totally unprecedented. This is something that all of us have to figure out how to cope with, and none of us have it totally figured out at this point. And I think knowing that we're all going through some of this extraordinary experience in our own ways, but we're going through it together, I think is helpful for all of us to be reminded. I also would want us to remember that we were a community before this. We're still a community, perhaps even stronger than ever before, that we care for each other and that we're not alone. I also think that, and this, you know, we all have to figure this out in our own way, but I believe having the knowledge that eventually things will work out, because they will. You know, it's incredible to see what our state, our country, and our world has been doing. And there are very hopeful signs that are out there. And what it says to me is that the human spirit is amazingly resilient. And if we learn anything at all from history, we know that our world has faced other crises. And if we were to be able to have a conversation with our grandparents or other elders, what they would say to us, I expect, would be, we've seen it before, we got through it, and we can do it again. And I believe that that's the underlying theme that I would want to just reinforce for our CU Denver community today.
A little bit of a follow-up question to that. You know, what kind of thoughts would you like to share for any CU Denver students who might be experiencing an increase in stress?
Well, we know that what we've asked you to do in shifting gears all at once is something really extraordinary. And so we know that the stress that comes from that. We also know that each of you have your own lives, your own responsibilities, and you are juggling a lot of things. You may be facing circumstances regarding housing or food insecurity, or you may have family responsibilities, health issues that you are dealing with. And so I think to recognize that those things are real and that there is help for you, though. And one of the things I'm most proud of is how our entire campus community has really rallied. And I would just encourage you to take advantage of all of the resources that are available. There are people and there are tools that are out there that are at just there for the asking. So I would really encourage you to seek those out, and hopefully they're easy to find when you go on to the COVID-19 website on the university's homepage, that you can click on resources and you'll see those. And what, again, I know about the CU Denver community is that people are so generous. They want to help each other. And guess what? As we help each other, it helps us. We all feel better when we feel like we've made a positive difference in somebody else's life. So I would just encourage us to take full advantage of everything that is there. I'd also want to say to students, and this is something that if you've heard me speak before, and Jamie and Peter, I'm sure I have said to you that I have learned in my lifetime that no experience that we have is ever wasted. And that's the same for this experience, that it is something that while we may not have ever wanted to ask for it, that there's learning that comes from this that I think is going to be really helpful. And as I think about our CU Denver students, and no matter what it is that you are studying, and I could click all the way through every one of our schools and colleges and the various majors that we have, I think the skills and the knowledge and the abilities that you will have by sticking with your educational goals, by finishing your degree, that you are going to be incredibly well equipped to help deal with what the new world, what the new normal is really going to be about. Because there are issues that are surfacing through all of this that are really critical challenges that our society is going to have to deal with. And because I always have believed that our CU Denver students are going to be the problem solvers and the decision makers and the influencers of the future, that hang in there, learn from this what you can, stay committed to your studies that you are doing, because you're going to come out of this on the other side of it with even an enhanced toolbox, if you will, that is going to position you very well for the future. So if you can just not get stuck in the mud at this point and mired in all of the things, the challenges that you were dealing with, but keeping your eye on the longer term goals that you have, I think that that is one way to kind of remove yourself from the immediacy of the stress that you are feeling.
All right, so as for our next question, Chancellor Horrell, what is some advice that you would give to the CU Denver community right now?
Well, I think, I guess the first thing would be that it's normal for us all to feel a little anxious and uncertain. We all like control in our lives, and we have anything but that at this point. So to just normalize it in some way, to say that it's okay to feel that way, and that within the course of any day, at one point you may be feeling really good about something, and the next time you turn around, you think, oh man, you know, can I really deal with this? And so I think it's to be good to ourselves. It's also, don't be afraid to ask for help. That we are all there for each other, and we can give help in lots of different ways. And so to just encourage all of us to remember that we're not on an island at this point, even though it may feel like it, that there are other people here that want to really help each other. And like I had mentioned before, in doing that, that helps us feel better ourselves. And then I guess the most important advice that I could give would be to take care of yourselves, your families, and the broader community. All of us can recite, because we've heard it so many times, the things that we need to be doing. And, you know, for us to really take those seriously so that we can get through this as quickly as possible and get to the other side. And I think, you know, all of the indications that we hear from the news and the other reports that I am receiving indicate to me that we are doing those right things. And so just to continue to do that in ways that again, are going to help us be able to emerge from this as quickly as possible. And then realizing too, and I'm reminding myself of this, that the world will have changed significantly on the other side. And so not to set ourselves up to think that, oh gosh, I can't wait to get back to things as they always have been, because in fact it's going to be different, and just to accept that and begin to do the reprogramming a little bit that we need to at this point.
Yep, I agree. Thank you, Chancellor Horrell. And then for the last one, we're curious about what you are doing during this uncertain time to make it a little bit better for yourself.
Well, and Jamie and Peter, just be prepared, because I want you to answer this question as well, because you probably have some really good insights. So, you know, we each figure out how to deal with the situations that life brings to us, and how do we tap into that resiliency that we know is that reserve deep inside us. And for me, I always love something to look forward to doing every day that brings me joy. And many of you know that my husband and I have two granddaughters. They live in Texas. One of them is 7 years old, and the other is 3.5 months old. Well, we have made a practice since this started that every day we find 20 minutes within the day to make a phone call to our 7-year-old granddaughter. And actually, she usually calls us because we try and schedule the time of when it's going to be to work around when she's doing her own homework. And we have a 20-minute daily joke session. And so we'll have a joke and she'll have a joke. And she is taking this very, very seriously. So in the last 2 weeks, she's up 8-0 over her papa and me. And that's something she looks forward to as well. So finding those little things that are something that just sparks that joy for us. Also, what I'm doing is trying to manage my own expectations. I start out each day thinking about, gosh, what am I going to accomplish today? Well, guess what? More often than not, the day gets changed for one reason or another. And so to give grace to myself and to everybody else, to say, you know, we got to just roll with it a little bit, and that's really okay. And so if I don't set my mind to that and say, I'm going to control everything that happens today and get upset when it doesn't go that way, it just helps me to kind of keep it in perspective. And then the last thing that I would say, and this is just a personal philosophy that I've always had, is to try and practice an attitude of gratitude. When we look around, there are so many things that we have to be grateful for. And every night before I go to sleep, I put myself through the mental exercise of saying, okay, what are those top handful of things that I just want to be thankful for, to call to mind those. And when I do that, it just sets my mind in a different place. It gives me a great amount of peace, and it also gives me a sense of hopefulness. As I once heard, and I really believe this, that it's impossible to be hopeless when you are grateful. So those are the things that I'm doing. But how about you two?
Well, I might start using some of your tactics because they sound pretty fun. Something that I've been doing is going on at least a 30-minute walk every day, and that's been really helpful. Just being outside in the sun, if it's nice, and just being outside and breathing the fresh air has been really helpful for me.
Jamie, I expect you to send me a joke a day now. Definitely. Let's see, things I've been up to. I've been adding to my collection of Zoom backgrounds each day. So I have a new background for each class. And taking care of my 4 animals. I now understand why they all run to the door every single day to try to get out, because now we're all stuck inside, and every time the door opens, we also run to the door now. It's hard being inside, so taking care of all of them.
Well, thank you very much for taking time. And, you know, I know on behalf of all 3 of us that we just send all sorts of love and best wishes to everybody in our CU Denver Links community, that we are here for each other, and just take good care of yourselves, of each other, and be well. And we'll look forward to coming back to you again sometime.
Well, CU Denver and Chancellor Horrell, it was wonderful seeing you again, even if it was just virtually, but that's the best we have right now. We know we'll be back together soon enough. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch. As Jamie said in the beginning, this is going to be a multiple-part series, so always stay tuned. And remember that you can always submit any questions you have about these times in the link provided. Thank you, and be well.